Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman. I gotta catch my breath. Um, and I talk about all things horror, and today I'm tackling the Stephen King thriller The Mist. Now, The Mist is a fucked up movie, which you can often say about Stephen King books. And most you can say about his movies being fucked up is that they're just fucked. Because they kind of mostly usually suck. Not always, but by and large. His movies suck more often than they don't. This is one that doesn't. Um, I don't want to spoil this movie, but here's the thing. Basically, you have this mist that comes over this small town in New England because all his movies take place in New England, except for like maybe one or two. Maybe I'll say. Um, the people of the town get trapped in a grocery store, a supermarket, and they are quarantined, for lack of a better word, because if you go outside, you die. But people are people. They don't get along well, and they don't want to be cooped up. So there are those in the cult who don't believe there's anything in the mist, so they just say fuck it and go get killed anyways. And you have this cunt, and I'm using that word accurately here. She's a religious Christo-fascist fanatic piece of shit who gets everybody riled up and turned on each other, and basically uses her faith in God to convince people in the supermarket that there's nothing wrong with the mist. It's just God's punishment. So if you go out and die, if the mist kills you, or if the things in the mist kill you, it's God's punishment. It's God's will. And they spend the entire movie in the fucking supermarket. Occasionally, you'll have someone who just says, "No, I can't deal with this anymore. I'd rather take my chances," and leaves. And then you do have some squabbling among the people. You have some violence and some mob justice among the people because the cunt points out, it's their fault. They brought the mist. It's their sins that have brought God's judgment upon us. Bullshit. But anyways, that's the gist of it, and I don't want to spoil the ending, and I don't want to say any more because I'll give it away. So, as is often the case, I have not read the story this is based on, book or short story. I don't know which, but I have not read the story this is based on, so I cannot comment how accurate it is or close it is to the source material. But I can say, as a movie on its own, it stands on its own. It is intense. It is dramatic. It is scary. It is violent. It is gory. It is bloody. It is tragic. And it is fucked up. And it will. This is a mind fuck. This movie is a mind fuck. Which is what you want from Stephen King. This is Stephen King, I believe, at his best. And it's done well. I say for the most part. The special effects, I believe, are mostly CGI, but there may be some practical effects. Don't quote me on that. I will say whether they are CGI or practical doesn't matter because they mostly look pretty good. And I say mostly because they're largely covered up by the mist. So you have a few effect shots that are a little iffy. I'll say they kind of look like rubber puppets, but I don't know if they are rubber puppets. But that's neither here nor there. I believe this movie came out in the mid 2000s, 2006 ish. But again, don't quote me on that. But it does have that early to mid 2000s desaturated look that I am not a fan of. So there is that. It's kind of, the colors are kind of washed out, and that is something I will complain about. It makes it more depressing than it has to be. But it's still a good movie. I highly recommend it. This is a buy. I want you to put this in your collection. This is going to go in your Stephen King collection. Which, if you're not going for a set, which I don't think you should, because he's got more rubbish than he has, treasures, this just happens to be one of the treasures. One of the diamond encrusted treasures. This is a good fucking movie.